for Echo because now they're forcing, they're forced to respond with some level of burst.
Okay, here's the thing, Leo. You know the players, you know the teams, you know the coaches, you know the management, you know a lot of things. That's why I like you, right? But
Thanks.
oh my Venus right now, picking up the Estes, is this kind of like an ego thing where you're like, Yaoi, why are you playing Estes like that? You really want to show me how you do it?
If anything, it's a reverse ego thing. I'm not sure when, but I think in the last couple of nights in an interview, Omar Venus was asked, why don't you use the Blacklist skin when you use Estes at M4?
That's a good question.
Yeah, and they went, no, I don't want to feel like the champion walking into the stage. I want to earn that title, so I'll use a different skin.
Oh, that's very humble, but it's kind of overshadowed now with the Valir ban. So this is very interesting because if they're betting out the Valir is kind of like pushing people away. So it looks like they want to charge in.
Logically speaking, that is what makes sense. That is the main, you know, the winning decision, the winning factor for a Valir, right? Removing crowd control, having healthy AoE and range, and crowd control. So either Blacklist want to go for something mobile, something aggressive to go towards the, you know, just crash towards the whole team of Echo, or they're gonna try and avoid getting clumped together for that big AoE damage.
That's also a deep cut because Yaoi debuted a Roam Valir in the Grand Finals of MPL Philippines Season 10 and won a game in the Grand Finals with that. So I think that's just Blacklist reading into the situation. And if I'm not mistaken, look at this. Who'd have thought that in the last two picks, in the last phase of the draft, you're able to flex? We don't know where this Lunox is going.
Yeah, we don't know where the Lunox is going, but Sanford gets the joy. We've seen him on this pick before. He will make sure the back lines will not have a comfortable time. But now, Blacklist, what is the back line? What is Sanford on the joy is going to chase after?
I think it needs to be something with a bit more mobility because otherwise everyone here can just go in aggressively. If Oheb is an immobile marksman, he's going to get left behind. So something that they can follow up with the rest of the team for sure.
I mean, again, like this Lunox could go to the gold lane, but right now, since they're hovering marksmen, you know, well, we thought about it. Beatrix, one of the higher win rates, is possible to just pick up here. I mean, if it works, because like our analysts say, if you want to fight guns, then use guns. Carrie's not using a gun, but you get the idea.
Yeah, I don't know where Gideon personally was going with that, but here it is in the hands of the Filipino sniper, signature pick. Game 2 was won off of the back of a very successful Beatrix in the hands of Oheb. So again, the key here is to iterate, not to innovate. Don't change what works. And with that being said, I'm liking the draft for Blacklist. There's a lot between the interaction of the Estes and the Lunox. They can survive so many team fights off the back of just those two alone.
But I think as far as the full team fight, the full-blown 5v5 team fight is concerned, it seems like both these compositions are gonna clash against each other. And for Echo, with a Lolita, with a Fireman and a Fredrin, I feel like there's a lot more possibility for a big crowd control tool. So I think Blacklist needs to be very careful.
Yeah, Blacklist needs to be very, very careful. And with that being said, we're going into game number 3. Blacklist International, Echo. Who will draw first blood?
Oof, I mean, in the early game, I think that Echo still has a lot more aggressive heroes in the pool. Lolita in the early game, deceptively high damage with the Bulwark, right? And then afterwards, having that joy is definitely something that they will try and abuse.
Yep, and again, the interaction of the Estes and Lunox surviving a lot is countered by the Bulwark because again, the Lunox is throwing out projectiles that Yaoi can block. So that is something Echo can go for. With today's matches, wow, Oh My Venus hit a milestone, 500 total assists in the M series. And V has been part of what? Just 2 so far. Well, 3. V played in M1.
I mean, like, here's the thing. When you're playing a strat, like the Uwe strat, that kind of stat is like something that you're expecting. Now, looking at this, Wise invades the jungle of Carl TZ, and now Blacklist International as well as Echo, they're trying to read each other out. They're trying to see where the aggression is. Is Blacklist going to try to get another first blood here in this phase of the map?
Oh, they are relentless. They're forcing a response from Carl TZ here, and they're going to get it. But we'll see. This buff, this creep rather, still standing. Wise comes in. Retribution spent.
Ooh, wow. I mean, it seems like Blacklist want to try and get any single piece of lead they can get. And in the XP lane, the glue has been a lot earlier in rotating compared to the Joy, so already a small victory for Edward on that glue pick. And for both teams, right, there's a very limited amount of crowd control, so these high mobility dive heroes are going to have a huge role to play in that mid game. But for now, for Benny at least, he is just focused on scaling because later on, this is the man that everyone is looking towards to try and just deal enough damage to melt through everything, including the Blessing of the Moon Goddess.
You're right, the storms are brewing, but now in the Turtle Pit, Contizi with a massive pull. Here comes Sanford, Edward with a split. Who's he gonna jump down onto? And there's a Numenon Blast, helping Contizi secure the turtle. Down goes King Wise, Edward on the Contizi with the grab, forcing a Cult Altar from Sanji. Edward jumps off, Flicker as well. They retreat.
Right now, Echo, they're starting the game strong. They're setting the tempo, but looking at Blacklist and trying to see the bigger picture, why they invade, because is it really worth it trying to get that small jungle creep? I kind of feel like it is partly to deny, but even if they don't get it, it's kind of okay because they just want to slow down the rotation coming in from Echo because look at the draft. Blacklist International, they kind of want to wait it out just a little bit.
I think they're trying to make sure that they abuse the early game potential of a Lunox because deceptively, even though Lunox is a late game hero, the early game is just sustainable, good burst damage, and like this, good outplay potential as well to try and save you from sticky situations. And look at Yaoi though.
Oh! Sidestep! Numenon Blast! And they put up the bulwark, forcing an ult from Oh My Venus, but Oheb is gonna fall regardless with Sanford dashing on through the back line. Popping that ult, but it's an overkill. Echo now 1,000 ahead, 3 minutes in.
I mean, they get Oheb though, so is it really an overkill? And Contizi though, go for a solo play, gets Oh My Venus. Echo right now trying to get all the control possible in this early game.
Oh, they put the pedal to the metal because look at Yaoi cutting behind this tier 1 turret. There's another fight. Here's Wise sandwiched by 3 members. Looking for some CC. That's Echo. Oh, they are in too deep. Wise down to a fifth of his health. Pop in the ult. Oh My Venus. Putting them all in shape. Oh. Now, there's Numenon Blast cancelled. Edward, the answer. Oh, Wise very low. There's a grab, and a pull. Another heal coming in. Edward taking down Sanji gets the kill, and look at Sanford dashing on through the back line. Oh, this is dangerous. This is dangerous. Look at Haji. He's very low as well. Dashing on through using the darkness. And Contizi confirms a kill underneath tier 1. It's only 4 minutes in, and Echo's already 2K ahead.
All right, Leo, I'm going to take over. You can like chill for a minute because that was a long fight. To put into perspective how long that fight was, 3 Appraisal's Wrath, 2 Numenon Blasts.
You're counting.
When you have ultimates just like resetting and using it again and again and again, I feel like even the minion creeps, they're like, excuse me, do I not exist to you? Am I a joke?
Calm down, sir. Calm down.
Both teams on the mission trying to gain that control. But unfortunately for Blacklist, Echo are the ones controlling unless they can go for a play. But no, that's going to be the total secured. The Yaoi tries to go for a play. Unfortunately, it does not land. That is the limitations of a Lolita.
False engage there, close call. Blacklist have been getting better in this 5-minute game so far at reading where Yaoi will put it. But still, again, that's what, 2 sidestep Numenon Blasts that the playmaker set. That's gonna be lethal if it gets him another time. But up top, Oheb gonna get caught there by the Shadow Stampede. And the storm trumps the Filipino sniper. Another one up top. But an ult from Oh My Venus puts Contizi in a compromised position. Here comes Wise with Divine Judgment onto Sanji. Shadow Stampede pulling King Wise in, securing the kill for Carl Tizi. That's 2 up top. None for Blacklist.
I mean, you can tell right now the crowd control, the engage tools available for Echo, there's just so many of them, and you can see a huge contrast from game number 2. Blacklist have no idea who's going to try and make the engage happen, and Echo is taking full advantage of it, trying to confuse Blacklist as much as possible.
Hey, here's the thing. We wanted explosiveness from Echo. They delivered. Looking at the items right now, but before that, Echo, are they thinking about engaging again? Nope, never mind. Arashi, looking at the items, is it okay for Blacklist to fight or not? Yeah, because looking at Beatrix, it doesn't look like that's the case.
it's a tough situation because Oheb is has 2 deaths. He's quite behind, and if you look at Kaltizi, he's itemizing for magical defense, understanding that the physical damage source from Blacklist is not on tempo. So Echo is just playing it very, very smart. And on the flip side, Benny Cutie, just off the passive, off the carry, does so much damage to these beefy front lines. So if Blacklist just cannot end the fight quick, it's just too difficult. And despite the Blessing of the Moon Goddess, Echo, as of right now, with a 4K gold lead, have enough damage to melt through all of that.
And what's scary is Blacklist aren't really even that beefy, right? They're squishies with an S-ness. So if they stand a little too long and Oh My Venus doesn't pull the trigger on the ult, then all the more it's lethal. Here's a concealed play by Yaoi. Who's he gonna find? Luminous Blast right in your face! And it gets cancelled. He pulls out. Yaoi puts up the bulwark. It's a 4v2 down bottom. Edward gets the grab. Yaoi's gonna have to fall here. Off cam though, Carldizi gets the turtle. Sanji very low. Cold Altar already forced out. A lot of damage from Haji. Wise gets the kill. Finally, Carldizi in the middle of all 5 members. Here comes Sanford. Can he get somebody redeem those first 2 deaths from Echo? Oh, he's still dancing, but there's way too much help from Blacklist. Wise takes down the young Sanford, and it's just Carldizi and Sanji left. Benny Cutie a little busy in mid. Appraiser's Wrath hitting 2. Knock up from Carldizi, and now it's Carldizi who's retreating, and he's very low. Can they get the kill? Edward shuts him down.
Oh, but look at them behind. Benny Cutie goes
Benny Cutie gets a double, takes down King Wise. There's the brilliance from Haji, Sanji, and Benny trying. There's a Numinum Blast from Yaoi. Edward pushing him back, and that's a full disengage.
I mean, you say a full disengage, but Echo and Blacklist, they're looking for any reason to go through.
Psych! There's a grab, and a split, pulling him back. Edward knows he can't get the kill on Yaoi. Now for reals, that's a disengage.
Honestly, out of nowhere, the carry, Benny Cutie just showed up behind them out of nowhere. Even I missed that. There's so much action going on around the whole fight. This is an insane game. But if you look at it, Blacklist is still itemizing for a lot of magical damage, whereas Benny Cutie already at 3 items. So you can see that his damage is something that Blacklist cannot ignore.
I don't speak Tagalog, but if I would use my imagination, I would imagine for both teams, there comes as you're like, huh? Go? What, you want me to go? You want me to engage?
Again?
Okay, I'll engage. Like, every single fight is like they're trying to find excuses of actually starting something.
Echo marketing, Blacklist marketing, this is a clear sign that LaFell wants to hear the mic check for this match. All right, now Lord has spawned, both teams jockeying for position, looking for the pull.
I feel like if Echo can go in together, not one by one like we saw in the previous fight, they have a really good chance of just winning decisively in these team fights due to their gold lead. But now Sanford is the one initiating that play, but look at the Luminous Blast!
Oh! Yaoi gets 3 underneath it. Ohem with Nibiru's passion, bombs away with Bennett. Cold Alta right on cue from Sanji. Edward very low. Benny Cutie takes him down. Another falls. Wise is down. No rescue for Blacklist International. They're not done. There's a stun onto Haji, and there's a pull. Down he goes. Sanji gets the kill. 3 for none so far. V and Ohem are forced to back out. Lord going over to Echo.
4,000 goal lead, and now Echo is getting themselves a Lord. They're pressuring down at mid. Will they try to get anything at all? Oheb misses the snipe. Right now, Echo, this is what we asked for. We wanted explosiveness, and I kind of feel like this first pick, Frederick, is really paying off. I don't know. If it were me, I'm not letting this Frederick go through again.
I mean, it is still sitting at a very high win rate, but honestly, Benny Cutie, despite all the skills, all the effort Blacklist is throwing at him, still on 0 deaths. The protection coming in from his whole team is just so obnoxious as he is just free hitting in the back, doing a lot of damage, and with that passive, Edward can't even stay for long.
Right now, the Lord is at top. Blacklist International, they're waiting. If they can engage.
Divine Judgment on the Yaoi. Cold Altar forced out of Sanji, but they're still going to continue. Going on blast on the 2. They're going to retreat underneath their tier 1. Lord still alive, less than half health. Blacklist going to clean up house. Could have been lethal, but the world champions defend.
I mean, you can see that for Echo, burst damage isn't exactly what they have to go for. It's for the most part a lot of DPS from Sanford and Benny Cutie. So if Blacklist can just disengage from the long prolonged team fights, I think they can have a good chance in staying in this game. But with the powered waves, Echo is going to try and make sure that they have all lanes under control and they have full coverage on the jungle of Blacklist International.
Right now, I'm just looking at the KDA. Sanford 0-1 and 6, Yaoi 0-1 and 8, Sanji 2-1 and 8. This does show every single fight, everyone's basically involved. And they have a lot of ways to engage, and this is making it very difficult for Blacklist because they want to be able to disengage, but then the focus is everywhere. Who do you really focus on? Sanji? Yaoi? Sanford? You want to focus on Carl Deasy, but he looks nigh indestructible.
They have perfected the Orca Pod strat. This is it. This is their version of the Ube, and it has its own distinct flavor, and I'm here for it.
Look at the item right now. You can see that Sanford has the glowing one, so even more percentage HP damage being chunked out towards Blacklist International. Of course, the Kaja, the Glue, as well as the Estes, these are all ripe targets for the source of damage from the Joy. And you can see that Sanji has built the Necklace of Endurance as well, ensuring that the longer the fight goes, that healing gets less and less. And with an 8k gold lead, I don't even know if they really need that. It's insane.
But looking at this right now, OHEB already having 3 items, I kind of feel like it is definitely comebackable because Beatrix, of course, has been changed like every single patch. And the recent patch right now is that Beatrix is still very strong. It's just like very strong, almost like ultra late game, like 3 items, 4 items. So it's definitely comebackable because they have the damage for it. It's just like, again, like the Orca Pod strategy where you're like overloading the senses of your opponent and be like, what am I really going to do with all of this pressure coming in? OHEB is going to have a difficult time sniping the correct targets because who's the right target?
Yep, and just as we're talking about it, Carl Deasy pulls the Lord. Could happen any minute. Orca Pod versus Ube strat. It could come to a head anytime soon. Lord at less than half its health. Look at where Yaoi is. Look at that big Ube Blacklist in that purple side jungle. As far as I'm concerned, it's a free Lord for Echo.
Yeah, it seems like Blacklist will back away from it. It's just way too risky without any information. That will be a free Lord for Echo. Gold lead extending to 10k. And by the way, Benny Cutie has an Athena shield as well right now. He is covering all bases, ensuring that a shutdown is the last thing possible for Blacklist International.
I feel like that's a very good call because you have to understand the geography of the map because a lot of tight spaces is very good for Echo. A lot of bushes makes it so that at any point of time, a crazy engage could happen. And Blacklist, the way that they can counter-engage is through Wise, is through Edward. Without a proper vision, it is going to be very, very difficult right now. Lord in mid.
Oh, very good defense so far. Wise playing with fire. There's a Lumina Blast with a flicker in by Yaoi. Stuns 3 underneath here. 3. That's an inhibitor at jeopardy. And so far, it's dangerous for Echo. Very low. 3 members backing out. Wise looking for someone, looking for anything. And they push back the Orcas.
They went for an aggressive play, trying to just crack open the base of Blacklist International, but against a Beatrix, right? That's such a dangerous maneuver. The Dimmer's Passion just chunked through all their HP bars, and even Benny Cutie almost gets taken out, and fortunately, they were able to escape with their lives, but that is now something they know cannot be done.
Exactly. 10,000 gold difference, and Blacklist almost killed 3 members of Echo. If that doesn't scream comebackable, I don't know what is. So now it really is evident at 50 minutes in the game. Looking at the items, Blacklist have basically all the damage that they need. They just need to be able to catch Echo slipping.
Exactly, with the Lightning Trojans finished from Haji as well, the Squisher members at least from the side of Echo need to be very careful. And even if you're Carl TZ in the front, we know that Lunox does a lot of damage against tanks as well. So slowly but surely, Blacklist are getting the tools they require to possibly fight back against Echo in these neutral objectives. The question is, how long is it going to take? Because at a 10k gold lead, with the next Lord spawning in 50 seconds, I think it's going to be a bit of a do-or-die situation for both these teams.
Yep, we're about a minute away from this Lord. It's going to be enhanced, but not evolved quite yet, so it will ram into turrets. Thinking about how they can make this comeback maybe all the more convincing, I'm waiting for the KDA machine to get that 5th item. I think that's what's needed here.
Yeah, and Okay, so now looking at the map, what Blacklist really need to do is try to establish some kind of map pressure, but they can't do that until Echo shows their face, because going inside bushes, seeing it as how Yahweh has been catching 2 members, 3 members, 4 members, it's really hurting Blacklist now, and that's why we can see they're freezing the lane, kind of making, it's like a reverse freeze where like we're making it so that everything is here. You guys want more gold? You guys already at 9,000. You want to push it to 10,000? Come here. We need to know where you are so that we can figure out how to contest.
And that's the vision without vision we were talking about the other day, where Echo uses deduction, uses the fact that they're not here. Okay, we know for sure that they're in this bush. We can push the advantage. And Blacklist are forced to ube their way out of this comebackable strat. And again, another free lord for Echo.
Free Lord for Echo. And honestly, I thought they were going to take over the whole jungle of Blacklist, but they just played a bit more calm and calculated. And you saw earlier, a Holy Crystal has been completed for Sanford, I believe.
Yeah.
And that's an even higher amount of burst damage that Blacklist need to contend with. And with the Lord here, there's a chance that Echo can crack open, can split apart this very cohesive unit that Blacklist International have.
I gotta say, this is a very interesting strat, how they're turtling up here. Blacklist International, like people watching this, they might be like, oh, they're like giving up. It's like, no, they're not giving up. They're purposely setting up their own waves so that it's at their own favor.
Exactly, it's a counter freeze, because it was clear that Echo was freezing earlier to deny our utilities and resources, but now Blacklist are on the same page as well. That was a close call. Could have been a pull. It's Wise who's the only one outside his base.
Alone in the jungle against multiple members of Echo, that's a dangerous spot to be playing around with. But maybe Blacklist are trying to use this as a bait. They can go for a big Divine Judgment here if Wise can spot an opportunity.
Oh, that's already one inhibitor down in bot. Numenon Blast confirming the kill, giving it over to Benny Cutie. That's one massive ult away from Echo. How can Blacklist capitalize? They pop Yowie here. His immortality goes down. Top lane inhibitor goes down as well. Edward survives, but only just as Oh My Venus uses the ult to save Agent Zero. Now the base is in jeopardy. Will Echo force their way into Blacklist's base? They're waiting for a wave. Let's see if they can get this. Sanji blasted here by Haji and Ohem. In comes Sanford, going into the back line. Popping the Filipino sniper. The base gonna go down. Echo takes game 3.
The pod of Orcas again overwhelming the senses of Blacklist International, giving them options, giving them pressure. What are you gonna do next? And looks like Blacklist International couldn't answer what Echo is pushing against them right now. Match point 2-1 in this best of 5.
If our opponents are prepared for our surprise attacks, let's give them so many attacks they have no idea which one to react to. That is the approach that Echo took in game number 3, and it paid off, man. We talked about having enough solo play potential on each of the heroes of Echo, and that is exactly what we saw happen as well. The Joy coming in strong, the carry as well as that Fredrin yet again. It's just so solid, and Blacklist, they just can't maintain enough control to scale into that late game.
And with this, Carl Teasy is one game away from returning to the grand final stage. Whew. 2 years ago, he was in this very same spot. He had to climb through the lower bracket to eventually face the Burmese ghouls. Now, he's in the upper bracket, 1 game away.
1 game away to seal a grand final slot again.